Friday night primetime racing is coming up next. It's round 3, season 3 of the Verizon IndyCar series on RaceSpot TV, streaming live on iRacingLive. Don't miss it from Charlotte Motor Speedway.
On the outside, contact made. 56 slides in at a 4. Who's going to be at the stripe? Dead even. Give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy.
Take it from the top.
Okay, cool. I've got this time. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget that the next round of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series, powered by iRacing.com. Sorry, I keep on messing that one up. Why are you changing the name all the time?
Just do it one more time. Do it one more time.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget the next round of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series, powered by iRacing, will take place on Tuesday from 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Catch it on iRacing Live. Join Evan and the gang for what will hopefully be another fantastic race. Some of the best sim racing you'll ever see on the internet. Better?
Good, perfect.
Cool.
Nice.
Welcome to the Charlotte Motor Speedway in North Carolina, USA. It hosts the third round of 12 for Season 3 of the Verizon IndyCar Series. The first of 4 ovals on the calendar, 2.4 kilometers, 1.5 miles, 24-degree banked corners, 5-degree banked straightaways. That will all be ready to race today for 120 laps. Qualifying just about wrapped up here. We'll look at those results in a little bit right now. The weather, nighttime, good day for racing as well. Lots of grip for these drivers out here today. And we'll hope to have one great event here for Friday night primetime racing as usual on RaceSpot TV, streaming live on iRacingLive. Good evening everybody, Johnny Simon in the commentary booth alongside Randy Cheneth as usual, Hugo Luis on cameras as well. Randy, we come here, the first oval of the season. This is going to be very, very tough and very intense for those drivers who have raced on road courses and make their move to the oval here. It's going to be an extremely tough event for them.
Yeah, it really is. This is going to be a huge shakeup for the championship. All 4 of these races that we're doing, and Charlotte obviously being the first one, like you said. But you know, people, just looking at the qualifying, Ryan Norton, Brandon Strost, Mike Perry, Christian Steele, George Nujux. That brings up your top 5. We haven't seen any of those names, with the exception of Norton, running relatively strong in the road courses. This is going to give these guys a bit of a chance to come in, maybe pick up some well-deserved points. And actually, just speaking more about that, the only name I really recognize that really runs the road courses regularly and has run really strong is Thomas Schmidt. A lot of people who don't really run these road courses showing up on this oval today, running pretty strong.
Yeah, Thomas Schmidt, who won round 1. Such an entertaining round at Spa that was. And, Charlotte as well, nighttime here, lots of grip, Randy. You could say that not many people think this is the most ideal track for this IndyCar, but I think it's going to be good racing today. Nevertheless, you can see that outside line possibly work every now and then if they can get a move done. But we'll tick over to the race in a second once we finish discussing that.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting to see how this race pans out. I think it's going to be a bit of a bottom fest. Not quite sure how that top line is going to be able to work here today, Johnny.
Yeah, the grid here today, qualifying all but over. Ryan Norton is on pole position. He's joined on row 1 by Brandon Trust. You can see on row 2, Perry and Steele there. And then George Noyes and Dave Jinks in P5 and 6 on that 3rd row. The 4th row, Hauser, Sturm, Grosser, Downing on that 5th row as well. See the rest of the field on the screen as well. They'll do 1 formation lap here, and they'll go racing. It'll be green for some intense action, especially into turn 1. Turn 4 is a difficult one, Randy, if they just sort of don't get the throttle out of there as usual. The tires start to wear a little bit. We're expecting 2 stops today in the pit stops, so we're expecting those windows to be around lap 40 and lap 80.
Not quite sure what the pit stop window is going to be, as I'm not much of a oval aficionado, but
hey,
like you said, it's hey, bite me. But yeah, definitely, it's going to be interesting to see how this race goes. I mean, qualifying in these Indy cars, yeah, it may not be difficult, but you know, a lot of people, they'll put a lot of setup work into those qualifying sets. Won't really put much effort into their race sets, and you might see some people that are qualified a little bit further down the field work their way up the field. But there's some pretty stiff competition in what is the first round of the oval part of this championship.
Yeah, so you mentioned Thomas Schmidt before. He's starting from 21st on the grid, so he's starting on that 11th row as they form up side by side to begin after the pace lap. Should I bring up the question already? Now, we just started the broadcast, but I'm going to create some fire. Is there 4 corners or 2 here? Is the argument, because some of these drivers are road drivers, they'd love to talk about that argument. I mean, they obviously use 4 officially, but you're only really making 2 sort of enters and exits into corners.
I mean, yeah, that's basically how it goes, and you know, this sort of racing, I think we're going to see probably out, you know, not too much of a pack develop, but we're probably going to, this is probably going to come more of how well your car can work in the dirty air, and if you can get how well your car can work in the clean air, if you can get yourselves out front. You know, oval setups are very finicky, and a lot of these people, such as Thomas Schmidt, we're seeing it. He's a half second off the pace just in qualifying. He better have a setup that can work his way through the field, but I think he's going to be pretty lucky to come away with a top 15 here today.
Oh, so you're calling it. You don't think he's going to make it up into the top 15? Alright, so maybe I should bet against that. That could make things interesting here today. The drivers are on their pace lap as usual. They'll form up Ryan Norton on pole position. Alongside him is Brandon Trust on that front row to begin this race. Wait for the pace lap to pull in anytime soon. Make sure he doesn't jump him, Trust. We'll get a penalty, of course, and that's a common error you see, especially as the drivers throttle away. They need their grip. Waiting for the pace lap to pull in. Norton floors it. Green flag here at Charlotte Motor Speedway as Norton gets away very well. Trust passed by Perry up the inside. Perry into second already. Christian Steele back into 4th. Relatively straightforward start here as they get onto the back straightaway.
Very straightforward start. Looking in the back, George Nujek's under attack by Dave Jinks. Dave looking to the outside, probably not going to be able to get that done, and Dave is going to need to slot himself back down to the inside. He hesitates a little bit as they come now down out of turn number 4 to start the second lap here, and Ryan Norton, he leads that first lap. Brandon Truex able to get himself back up in second place. And this is where we're going to be able to see who has what. How well can you pass? How well can you get a run? Can that outside work? We got 109 more laps to go to figure that out.
Yeah, so Norton still leads. Trust having a look here, but Norton can hug that inside line. Oh, Trust onto the grass on the main stretch. Incredible there, but he keeps it together, and that's Trust still in second place. That could have ended in heartbreak for the rest of the field behind, still trying to form up here. But Thomas Sturm, 6th, has dropped back a little bit, so you can see there now it's a bit of a 5-car battle for the lead. And Trust just cannot make his way through. It seems the inside line starting to work now, Randy, but later on in the race, we'll see that outside line start to work a little bit better.
Keep in mind, it's going to be interesting to see, but Brandon Trost there, obviously that last time by going into turn number 1. Trost is known for really defending that inside line very, very aggressively as he looks again going into turn number 3. Not able to get there, but Ryan Norton clipped that apron. This could be Trost's one and only single chance. He gets himself there, and he's just about on the side, but no, Ryan Norton gets clear, and he very smartly gets down and he cuts the nose off of Brandon Trost behind. That's exactly what that broken arrow car of Ryan Norton needed to do. He maintains the lead as they now go down the back straightaway.
Yeah, Mike Perry was smart as well. He stayed away from any sort of spin that may have occurred from that. So he can take the lead if these two get involved in an incident. We know Trost is very aggressive at the moment. And as they start lap 6 of 120, Trost up the inside again. No room. Oh, he turns around the leader. And that's Perry into the wall as well. Caution flag is out here. Only on lap 6 of the event. The rest of the field come by safely. And that was inevitable there, Randy, as we knew Trost was incredibly aggressive. And he did not want to stay in P2 anytime soon, as we'll look at the replay now.
I would 100% actually put the blame of this incident on Ryan Norton. I mean, he left that inside line wide open, and, you know, when you're leading in these Indy cars, you really do have to be watching your mirrors for people behind. He left that inside line into one completely wide open, and he just, you know, for some reason didn't foresee that Trost would try to take it. Trost is infamous for being very aggressive. He should have been, you know, Ryan should have been a little bit more aware than that. I think that's a 100% Ryan Norton incident.
So any damage for Brandon Trost, we'll try and find out. Maybe someone might come in for an early pit stop. No real need to at this stage of the race, but as you said, I think Mike Perry in P3 was probably in the worst position, because any accident that would have occurred from those in front of him, which was Trost and Norton, you can see that Perry really picked up the worst of it. Only those two cars involved, so that was the number 5 car of Ryan Norton and the number 15 of Mike Perry there. Trost leads during this pace car period, Randy, as we have a couple of cars entering pit lane.
Yeah, we do, mostly for damage repair. This is a little early to get into green flag pit stops, but it might just be worth it if you're running in the back, top yourself up with fuel. But for the most part, looks like everyone pretty much coming down just for repairs. We caught incidents. John G. Hill's in the pit lane. Liam Quinn's just now rolling out, and as well as T.M. Hauser. So from here, you know, this is where we are going to see a little bit of strategy come into effect. You know, that's 5, 6 less laps of fuel these guys will take if we happen to stay green. This might really pay off for them if they can maintain a decent pace.
Yeah, let's see. Hopefully they got some good... Did they have some fuel efficient engines or something like that to get them 120? 2 pit stops is quite a long way away. Well, that's what I read anyway. I'm hoping that's correct, by the way, because then I'll sound like a total fool if they actually don't make 2 pit stops. At this rate, it does look like most of them are going to be doing that. So there's plenty of chances to go in this race. Pace lap. This is really boring, isn't it, right now? I mean, you know, what else can you do during these pace lap periods?
Yeah, this is the calm before the storm right here. Right now, these guys, you know, they've got a long race, 120 total laps, less than 10 laps into it. This is when you need to be calculating fuel, and all these guys out there who didn't pit, they should be out there saving gas right now. They want to get either as long as they can, or they want to have as short of a pit stop as possible. The longer you go, I mean, obviously every single lap you can go extra over everyone else, that's a lap less that you have to take. We've seen, you know, other big races like that decided by such, you know, simple strategy decisions. We saw it in the iRacing.com Indy 500 earlier this year. The leader's pit stop decision, and his choice not to pit, that really decided his whether or not he would win the race, as we're going to be going green this time by as the lights are out on that pace car, Mr. Johnny Simone.
Yeah, so Trost Steele on that front row, you can see behind as well. Drivers will warm up as usual and get this race going. Do not want to get an early jump here, and we've seen drivers in the past in the IndyCar spin up those rear tires, and then that car gets sent into the wall, and we go straight back to caution yellow flag racing, which we don't want. So Trost will obviously wait for the green as well once the pace lap pulls in. Just needs to bide his time as well. He had the pace earlier on, especially with the draft, as now he floors the green flag once again here on lap 9 as Trost straight ahead into turn 1, Steele behind in second. Is that Jinx trying to make a move on Stern here? He's very, very close onto the back stretch.
So that's Sturm trying to make a move on George Nugix, and now they go running down this back straightaway. But Jinx actually gets a big run off of turn number 2, comes in. He actually has to lift out of it. So we're seeing these corners here at Charlotte maybe a little bit tighter from what these guys are used to. We have side-by-side in the back. Who's that? That's Ricardo Lampert and Oliver Dean. That's battling for 12th place right now. They're side-by-side down the front straightaway. Although right now, Ricardo Lampert getting himself shuffled back.
Oh, Sturm now up the inside of Nugix. And that's Steele trying to go around the outside of Trost for the lead as well, but Sturm is into third. And now Nujix is going to try and fight back. Jinx is very close behind as well. This is much like the earlier battle we had between P1, 2, and 3. Here's Jinx, though. Doesn't know which line he's going to take, middle or outside. He goes for the inside line into turns 1 and 2. Onto the back stretch now.
Nujix coming through hard up into turn number 3. Not able to get it done, so we're seeing you can get yourself quite a big run off these corners. Off corner number 2, off corner number 4, you can get the run, but just working that high side, you lose all your momentum and you're not able to get that pass done. And just talking about how important setups were in this race, look at the gap from about P number 8 to back to P number 9, Timo Isanemi. That's probably about a second and a half or so. Yeah. And here on these sorts of courses, you know, on an oval, that's absolutely huge and just shows a complete lack of pace from the guys behind.
Yeah, so they're going to have to wait maybe to a yellow flag, or if these guys keep battling in front there. But the 14 of George Nujix still very, very close to Sturm. The two leaders of Trost and Steele also fighting. Steele's trying to make that outside line work. He's very, very high up next to the wall, but he dips down on the exit as well. So Nujix now in P3 as it was as the pace car went in. Sturm 4th, Jinx still looking around the high side. We wait for those tires as well, Randy. Once those start to go away, the exit of turn 4 is going to be a lot more difficult.
That really is. As these tires start to go away, these guys might just lose some pace. We see it on a lot of the shorter tracks. Tire wear can mean quite a lot, and the undercut on this IndyCar Oval Series really can be pretty huge, and you can make some big strategy decisions by doing that. And there's a lot to say by just getting yourself and leaving yourself either one, being patient behind people and not pushing it, not completely killing your tires, or two, if you can maintain that clean air, that'll really help your tires out as well. As right now they're fanning out too wide behind Dave Jinx. Who's that? That's Robert Grosser and Kevin Bulhassa. They're battling for position right now. Kevin not able to get that move done on the outside. Robert Grosser very smartly defending that inside lane. Right now this track's not seeming too racy up on that outside. Seems like you have to really get a run on that outside, get someone to try to block, and then cut underneath them. That seems to be the way you have to get passes done. Every time you get to the entry to the corner on the outside, you just lose too much of that momentum.
Yeah, that's much like what we saw from Trost earlier on, being very aggressive, going for the undercut as they go through once again right now. Grosser still hugging that inside line. So I think Bohas has had a lot of speed from the restart, but he just hasn't been able to capitalize on the move here, just because that outside line hasn't worked as well as they would have liked at this stage of the race. But that should increase sometime soon. Berry right behind in 8th. So that's really the battle right now. You mentioned before, P9 down 2.2 seconds from this leading 8 pack. Bulhassa now around the outside. Can he make this move for the 6th position? So we're still waiting for it, Randy. It's not working right now.
Yeah, it's not. Just looking through our field, we have some pretty big movers already. Cameron Berry up to 8th place from starting 20th. Thomas Schmidt up into the top 10 from 21st. So maybe you were right. Maybe you had the smart bet. He's working himself up this field. Andrew Burns just behind, up to 11th from 26th. He didn't even set a qualifying time. He was the very last starter. As Andrew Burns right now gets a big run on Thomas Schmidt going down into turn number 3. He's going to have this position. Thomas needs to get himself back to the inside right now, and that is so very close.
He turned around. Spins. So that is caution flag out, and that was Burns, who we're just talking about, who started in the last position, and he was up into the top 10. He's turned around there by Thomas Schmidt, who tried to go back down to the bottom line. He went a little bit too early there, and he caught the back of Andrew Burns. I think I saw Thomas Sturm hit the outside walls. We look at the RaceSpot TV replay right now, and that car is should be total there for Andrew Burns.
Yeah, that's going to be really, really unfortunate for Andrew. He's running very strong, and that really wasn't a hard hit from Thomas. That was just one of those things where he started getting down to the inside. I think he hit that dirty air, basically, and, you know, these cars on this sort of track, they have more than enough aero to be able to corner, even really right up behind cars. But he got into that hole that 25 car of Andrew Burns was pushing through the air, and that car just gained a mile or so per hour in speed, and he just barely tapped the back of that 25. Not the silliest incident I've ever seen, but just very, very unfortunate. And now here, 20 laps in, pit stops again going to be cycling through. We should be seeing just about everyone come down this time by.
Yeah, so leaders come in, Trost, Steele, rest of them come in as well. Or actually, Grosser continues. So Grosser will take the lead of this, but we wait for these pit stops, Randy. This could be very, very entertaining. And Trost, who's had the pace, doesn't want to lose the lead at this stage of the race. Who will take the most fuel and tires here?
From here, you should be filling up. Looks like everyone pretty much getting into their boxes cleanly. No one really overshooting it. Hearing the engine rev start to build for those who are already done. And Brandon Trost, he's going to be the first to wait comfortably. Looking back behind, though, Christian Steele.
Oh.
I think Christian Steele got passed by Nujux there. I'm not quite sure. That was very, very close. As we see right now, Christian Steele giving up that place. Nujux getting himself up another position. Not sure what happened to Christian there. Maybe he missed a pit box. Maybe he just took to... more gas than the other guys did, which may not pan out for him now, but if that is what happened, if he just filled up more than the likes of Nujux and Trost, he will be able to drive further into this race.
There wasn't even an inch in that. Nujux just managed to jump Steele in the pit stop, so he's up ahead there as we'll start this pace lap in a couple of laps time. Pace car lights still out right now, so Grosser has the lead, and it's Schmidt. So Schmidt jumps into P2, and that's what he needed to do, Randy. We're expecting this because he started so low down the field, and he could hopefully get himself back in this race. But this is going to be very difficult right now for some of these leaders who have pitted, especially for Trost, who's in 6th. But what's going to happen is the 5 in front of him here who haven't pitted, he's going to catch them very quickly, and it's going to be a very important time to avoid those incidents. I hope he doesn't. Now, if that high line, we may see it work here, just to the fact that Trost has a lot more grip, and he may be a little bit heavier on fuel.
Yeah, I mean, the likes of Trost, Nujux, and Steele, Ulhasa, Dave Jenks, they all obviously have a lot more pace than these guys in front, and those guys behind, they will be heavier on gas, but they will have newer tires, and I honestly think that just based on the pace that those guys have over the ones in front, I don't think the weight's going to play too big of a difference. But like you said, those guys behind who did just pit, they're going to have to be very, very patient getting around the guys in front. They don't want to be patient, but they're going to definitely, you know, if they don't, they're probably going to likely see themselves get into an incident. And you don't want to see, you know, if you're Trost, if you're Steele, if you're Nujux, if you're Bulhasa, you don't want to make yourself out to be like, you know, Ryan Norton, who's running very, very strong, ended up getting himself into that incident. So these guys, they have to be patient to get by, but they have to take opportunities if they present themselves.
Yeah, so lap 24 here, pace car lights still out. We're expecting it to go green next time around. As we look at the order as well, you can see down the field Ryan Norton out of the race after an early incident. Mike Perry as well was involved in that. We have Downing and Zoltan Vegso. And right now, Antognini, actually, yeah, he's 1 lap behind. So he's will not get a free pass, don't think. Yeah, he is still 1 lap behind, but Andrew Burns will be at the back of the pack on the lead lap as well. Grosser in the number 7 will lead this pack away. Behind him, it's Schmidt, Quinn, Tam, Hanger as well. So right now, as Antonini's going to be very difficult. I think his race is almost pretty much over. Randy's going to struggle to make that lap up as the pace car lights are out.
Ways he can get that lap back. What he needs to hope for right now is a decent length run. And then from that, he needs to not pit under any circumstances and hope that everybody in front of him does come in. That way he can get himself out front, be in front of the leader, he'll get himself to wave around. As right now, they're working themselves through turn number 3. Into turn number 3, lights are out on that pace car, Johnny. We're about to go back to green flag racing here at Charlotte.
Yep, your top 5, Grosser, Schmidt, Quinn, Tam, Hanger, have not pitted. Trost, though, from 6th, Nujix behind, and Steele in 8th, Bulhasa as well. They've made their pit stops. And they wait for these guys to go green. Green flag right now as Grosser floors it. Screaming towards the first corner right now. Can Trost makes his way through? That's the question right now. He's just trying to get that draft, make the low side work. You can already see he's got a lot more grip and a lot more confidence as well as they go down to the low side into turn 1. Quinn and Schmidt battling here. There's Hanger up the inside of Tam into the final corner as well. They swap positions. Trost needs to capitalize on this.
And he needs to try to, but he needs to be very careful. He's kind of boxed in right now. David Hanger probably not going to give up that inside, obviously, because of the car behind him, Richard Tam. But Trost able to get by Tam, and now if I'm David Hanger, I think I just need to let Trost by, and that's basically exactly what he does. Just goes up to the outside, gives Trost that inside, and he needs to get himself back down to the inside right now before Richard Tam can get there, but no, he hesitates. Here comes Richard Tam, going to be able to get that position. Let's see what Trost is doing. Trost has a big gap to that car ahead. How are the cars behind Trost doing right now? Christian Steele, George Nujux, they're still really struggling to get through this traffic. What's happened to to Kevin Bulhasa. Well, Kevin Bulhasa is still back there battling with Dave Jinks. He's fallen back a couple seconds as well.
Yeah, so that group has pretty much lost a second to the top 8 right now as George Nujix goes alongside Hanger. So Hanger now just doesn't have the speed of the grip at the exit of the restart. Trost, though, is in a huge battle right here for the lead. Oh, very, very close to Schmidt there. Front right almost tapped the rear left there of the number 1. But Trost in that number 13 now. Tam around the outside, doesn't have the grip, goes back to the low line. Has to watch out for Steele as well. Grosser, Quinn still battling for the lead here at this stage of the race. They're going to go alongside each other, side by side into the first corner. We're 1/4 of the way through this event right now. Look at Trost though, low side as he passes Schmidt into the top 3. What a move there.
Yeah, very well done there, sneaking himself by there. Maybe a little bit of contact, making things hairy for both of us. Right now, Brandon Trost working on Liam Quinn as they come off of turn number 4, and Trost is there. He's going to be able to get that job done. Now it's just Robert Grosser in front of him that he should have to worry about. Christian Steele kind of stuck up on the outside right now behind, as well as George Nujix. He's kind of stuck at the back of this as well. Fortunately for them, this is all kind of accordion together, and because of that, it's brought Steele and Nujix back into the picture. Robert Grosser working his way through turn 3, number 4, sees that intimidating picture of Brandon Trost behind, knowing that it's only inevitable until he gets there. And right now, Brandon has the run, but Robert Grosser, he's out here in the lead. He's not going to want to give up this spot too nicely, Johnny.
Yeah, so he doesn't want to let him go up the inside because then he'll be vulnerable to Tam and Quinn behind. As Steele is now into the 5th position, Schmidt is still behind. Nujix, though, is in 7th, so he's behind Schmidt right now as Steele goes to the inside on Quinn on the main stretch right now. And Trost just still seems the outside line just doesn't want to work at this stage right now as they form up once again. So easy stuff at this stage. They started to calm down a little bit, though. Here's Trost, a little bit of a draft. Can he make that outside line work? He needs to get the run out of the corner, which is most important. But he goes back to the low side. It does not work for him at this stage of the race. We're still waiting for it, and Tam behind is waiting to capitalize as well.
I think if Trost might have been on a slightly lighter car, he may have been able to make that move work, but we're just seeing it here. That inside line is where you need to be, where you want to be. And the thing is, for Brandon Trost, we know he has a dominant car. But even Christian Steele, we know Christian Steele has a dominant car. They need to be patient. They want to get themselves to the front. They want to get out in front of these guys. But you don't want to go trying to make a move, going down on the inside, throw it up really aggressively, get yourself some damage, and then take yourself out of contention. We see Christian Steele trying to work that outside behind as well, trying to get by Richard Tam. He's not able to get it done, and he loses a lot of the momentum, and here comes Liam Quinn on the outside of Christian Steele. But no, Liam Quinn again on the outside loses all that momentum. They're side by side behind as well. Who's that? That's Kevin Bulhasa still trying to work his way through this traffic, as well as Dave Jinks. So there's two people who we thought may have been competitive struggling in all this traffic, Johnny.
Yeah, but they have managed to catch back up to the pack. They did break away over a second away. They're back into the draft, back into the speed. They're not going to get little 2 packs of yellow. Oh, the caution flag is out. So I was just about to say,
and there was an after yellow
the main
incident.
stretch.
There was an after yellow incident as well. Christian Steele got really sideways. Who was it that hit that car that was sideways coming out of turn number 4? That was Andrew Burns, who we saw in that earlier. Oh no, excuse me. That was Thomas Sturm, who was sideways off of turn number 4. Who hit that? That was Liam Quinn.
Liam Quinn there. We'll have a look at the replay soon enough, but Thomas Sturm was the guy at the final corner who just spun around, it seemed, as you mentioned, and that just caused a huge incident as the leaders came through. That was incredible stuff there. Now, I'm not sure what the original caution came out for. Actually, no, excuse me, that was for Thomas Sturm, who did spin. What a save, though, by Christian Steele there, Randy. And already saved the race as we wait for a couple of pit stops here. We see those guys who didn't make the stop the first time around come in. Trost and Steele, though, stay out. Same with Nujix, as expected. Grosser, though, enters the pits along with Tam. And I think that's Liam Quinn who was involved in the incident too. So we'll have a look at the replay and see who was involved.
Yeah, there's several cars, I think, involved there. But like you said, that 11 of Christian Steele made an absolutely fantastic save. Once they started coming off of turn number 4, saw that car turned, everyone started moving around trying to avoid. And Christian Steele made slight contact with another car, got him loose. He was almost 90 degrees to the left there, and he managed to wheel that car back underneath them, get it going, roll through the grass, might have a little bit of damage for that, but he's definitely going to still be rolling. Let's see, where did everyone else pan out in this? Look at this, Brandon Trost getting himself to the lead after that incident.
Wow, Christian Steele let's just say that that car has got a little bit of extra weight in it. That's all I'm going to say. He's definitely done something to his trousers. But seriously, I mean, that was amazing. What we need to do right now is take a short little commercial break here. You're watching Round 3, Season 3 of the Verizon IndyCar Series. Pace Lap is out. We'll be back soon after these short messages.
Alright, let's take it from the top.
Okay, cool. I've got this time. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget that the next round of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series, powered by iRacing.com. Sorry, I keep on messing that one up. Why are you changing name all the time?
Just do it one more time. Do it one more time.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget the next round of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series, powered by iRacing, will take place on Tuesday from 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Catch it on iRacingLive. Join Evan and the gang for what will hopefully be another fantastic race. Some of the best sim racing you'll ever see on the internet. Better?
Good, perfect.
Cool.
Nice.
Back live here for Verizon IndyCar Series Racing, Friday night primetime on RaceSpot TV, streaming live on iRacingLive. The pace car lights are out as we finish this caution stage of the race right now, and we'll wait for green flag racing soon enough. Actually, no, they're not out actually, Randy. No, they are. Excuse me, as that was very difficult to see. But you can see Thomas Schmidt there, before we get to this restart, has not made a pit stop yet. He's in P4 on lap 40.
That's an interesting decision here. Going to be interesting to see how the strategy plans out. Maybe he's expecting more yellows. Maybe he's getting enough yellows here to keep himself out there on a one-stopper.
So Tro, Steele, Nujux have all made their pit stop. The top three there, Bullhasser in 5th. Needs to make his way past Schmidt as soon as he can. And green flag once again here, 1/3 of the way through this event. Trust floors it. Steele looking for the outside line into the first corner.
Yeah, he really is. We need to actually watch something. Our buddy boy Thomas Schmidt here, he got a really good jump on George Nujux, and he may have just passed him before he crossed that line. Might have caught himself a black flag. We're going to have to see what happens, as right now George is falling back. We got a yellow somewhere in the field. Not quite sure what happened, Johnny. Oh, we got a car flipping in the air. It's Ricardo Lampert on the back straightaway going into turn number 3.
Oh, so already caution as we just went green right now, and Lampert not pleased with that incident. Number 21 there. He's turned around on the back straight away. We'll look at the replay as well. And you'll see right now as they head through the first corner, it seemed behind that he got a huge tap there from, that was the number 17, Omar Sibric. So that race is obviously over for Lampert. He wasn't pleased with that incident.
Yeah, and I don't blame him. Irma's right there. I mean, he had a huge run coming off it too, but you know, that's one of those situations where you need to either just lift off the gas or just a little bit more situational awareness there. He tried to make that move under that white line that denotes the bottom of the racing surface. Would have been a protestable pass in the first place, even if it was clean. He should have just tried to, I mean, he had enough momentum. He could have swung around him on the outside, surely.
Yeah, so pace car's out again. This is the interesting time of the race. That save by Christian Steele. I mean, I literally jumped up. I think I tore a hamstring as well when I was getting up. That was amazing. That, like, the way that you said it was pointing almost 90 degrees to the left. You can see he's still living here in P2. The important thing though is that maybe, now you mentioned it before, I mean, I don't think there's much damage to the underside of that car, but there definitely could be some. But I can't see any visual damage at the moment on Christian Steele's car right now in that number 11.
Yeah, I mean, Christian Steele, like you said, that's undoubtedly the save of the race, you know, and that's just one of those incidents where I don't think the leaders realized the incident was going to be right in front of them coming off of turn number 4, and once they started seeing it, everyone started scrambling, and because of that, Christian Steele barely got tagged. It wasn't like it was a very bad, a bad touch at all, but just enough to get himself sideways, especially after he caught that apron, and the way he was able to wheel that car back, it was just, you know, that was one of those moments where his eyes are going to be Christian Steele is going to keep running strong, or he's going to be out of that race.
Yeah, so Drost right now will lead Steele, then Schmidt, who made his way up into the 3rd position, so that was straight past Nujix in P4. Look at the field as well, Buhasa in the 5th position, then Dave Jinks, Cameron Berry, Timo Esimimi, and then it's Oliver Dean and Richard Tam 9th and 10th. Grosser, Henger, Hauser, Hill. You can see the rest of the field on your screen as well right now, and you know, a couple of retirements. So in that last few instances right there, we saw Liam Quinn before, obviously, Ricardo Lampert in that recent one, in that number 21 car, as Trost, so pace car light still at right now, but Randy, strategy comes back into play, and I'm trying to think, these guys, when did they make their pit stops? Early on, was it lap 9, lap 19, one of those laps, was it? No, sorry, lap 9, and then lap 9, was it? I'm pretty sure, yes it was. So they made early pit stops.
Yeah, some guys made early pit stops. Some people have stayed out. I don't think Thomas Schmidt has pitted yet, as well as a couple other guys. So definitely some strategy stuff coming into play here. And it's going to be interesting to see exactly how far they go. I have to think we're probably starting to near the end of this run, as we're right now 44 laps into it for Thomas Schmidt. It's going to be interesting to see is right now checking the lights on the pace car. They come off at turn number 4, waiting to see whether or not they come off this time by, or if we're going to have at least one more lap under caution. And as they cross the line,
waiting,
they're off.
Yes. All right. Now don't get excited, ladies and gentlemen. Stay on your feet because we're still going to do another pace lap here. But as I mentioned before, there have been some drivers who were pitted as early as lap 9. Most of the leaders did on lap 23 once that caution came out, but now as Trost will lead this field away right now. You know, is it too early to tip Trost for the win? Feels like he's unstoppable.
After a save like that, how would you not put it on Christian Steele?
Oh, well, if there's live betting out there, I'd love to put some money on. Actually, you know what? We don't support betting here at RaceSpot TV. I don't know if we're supposed to or not, but I'm just going to play the safe game. I would like to see a great battle here between Trost and Steele. I don't know where Schmidt will end up come the end of this race. It's like he skipped a pit stop almost. But we'll see how that works out for him. But anyway, back to serious racing right now as the pace car will pull in sometime soon. It's Trost, Steele, Schmidt, Nujix, Bulasser in the top 5 right now. Incredibly, this stage the race still hasn't made that stop as we mentioned, so he will be probably caught by Nujix behind. Trost floors it, green flag once again here on lap 45 of 120 at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Schmidt very close, sorry, Steele very close behind to Trost into turn 1. Schmidt though defends P3. Nujix trying to make his way past, or trying to defend from Buhasa there into turn 1.
Steele's got to run. Steele's got to run going into turn number 3, but we're going to see it again. That momentum just gets cut away, and Thomas Schmidt right now getting under that rear wing onto the gearbox of Christian Steele behind us. Christian Steele barely clipping that grass. We saw Brandon Trost earlier in the race really get to the grass trying to make a move on Ryan Norton. But right now, Thomas Schmidt trying to make this car work. And we're just seeing right now these older tires. He's starting to fall back just a little bit through the corners. He is getting some very good runs due to the lightness of the car. But watch through the middle of the corner. He loses himself about a half a car length. But coming off, once that car is so light, he gets himself a big run. Brandon Trost doing what he does best, holding that inside line. Christian Steele here, we just saw Trost do it that last time by. He left a lot of room to that inside in the turn number 1. What Christian Steele is going to need to do is going to get himself a bit of a run and see if Brandon leaves that door open like that again. And if he does, Christian Steele will have to absolutely pounce.
The top 3 battle for the lead here. Bullhasser still defending from Nujix in that second group. They're alongside each other most of the restart right now. Jinx around the outside in that battle. Dave Jinx just doesn't have the grip right now. Does he have the run on the exit though? Nujix gets the draft though on the inside line. And Bullhasser right now is still in course. So this group's dropped 1.5 seconds away from that top 3. Schmidt still keeping up with the leaders right now. This is perfect for Schmidt right now, Randy. He doesn't have to defend, and he can keep up with the leaders and save fuel at the same time.
This is what Thomas Schmidt wants right now. All he has to do is save gas. If he can get himself to that 60 lap mark, he might just be a shoe-in for a one-stopper here right now as we're 10 laps away. Still going to be very, very tight though. Brandon Trost still defending valiantly. Let's see if he opens that door in turn number 1 again as he clips the gas, and we see, yes, he does. Very, very wide entry going into turn number 1. It is the regular line, but these cars do have enough grip that you can slot it up the inside, as we saw Wright and Norton do earlier in the race. Looking back, they're 3 wide. Dave Jinx has got himself around, and he's got himself around Bullhasser almost as they go into turn number 3. He's going to lose momentum, but he might just be far enough alongside that when he gets to run off of turn number 4 here, he might be able to slot himself ahead of Kevin. No, not able to do it just yet. Does he clear him? No, he doesn't. But coming off of 2, I think he might have that done.
Yeah, that was very risky from Jinx. We saw him a couple laps ago almost hit that outside wall at the final corner, and that risk paid off because now he's up into P4, so he makes his way past. Good little fight here for that 4th position. Bullhasser, though, really fight back here, really maintain a safe line. Barry trying to make the outside line work. So Nujix has dropped down to 7th in all of this at the restart. Just playing the patient, safe game right now. They battle once again is Bullhasser inside. Jinx doesn't know which line he's going to take. Goes for the inside at the final corner. Seems the logical one at this stage of the race. Battle for the lead, though, that still is the same as usual. So these drivers still getting feisty here for P4 to 7.
Yeah, and that's where the fights need to be happening. There's no real point if you're the leaders to really fight right now. We don't think Thomas Schmidt has the pace to do so. Anyways, as right now, Dave Jinx didn't get a great run off of turn number 2, but Kevin Bullhasser not quite close enough to get by. And that was a very, very good move by Dave Jinx there a couple laps ago, making that outside line work. Like you said, took a couple risks, able to get that job done. And right now, these guys for 4th through 7th, calming themselves and getting themselves stretched out just a little bit. Cameron Barry and George Nujix losing the back of Kevin Bullhasser just a little bit, but they are still there, are close enough. And if either of the guys hiccup, they could just strike. Looking back behind these guys, Tiso Isanemi, all out, basically all by himself. Looking back behind, battle for 9th and 10th is Oliver Dean and Richard Tam, and they're side by side behind them. Who is that? That's David Henger on the outside of TM Hauser. TM, I think, is going to lose this spot as they come off of turn number 2.
Yeah, so TM now maintains the inside. Oh, wow. Okay, so that, even I was surprised by that. So TM up the inside as well. Oh, very aggressively closes the outside line on Henger in front. So Isanemi there in P8. In front of him, we've got Jinx, Bullhasser, Barry, Nujix. If somebody tries the outside line that doesn't work there, as Barry plays with fire with that wall, if it doesn't work, you're just going to go back into P7. So it's not like you're going to drop back down the order and you're never going to find that inside line for the next few laps. You can still take those risks at this stage of the race, but we're not even 50% of the distance yet. We're almost there. So whether the risk is worth taking yet or not is another question in itself, as Trust still leads from Steele and Schmidt in that top 3 group.
Yeah, I mean, it is one of those things, like, what do you want to do? You can obviously try to get yourself up around that high side, try to make that make a move, get yourself out in front, or you might be better off, you know, doing like what Kevin Bullhasser is doing right here, just basically following the tracks of Dave Jinx, saving himself a little bit of gas every single lap. Very Tim Holgate-like. Tim Holgate, very, very famous by saving gas in this series. And he's won a lot of races just by doing that, by riding in 2nd place for almost the entire distance of the event. And then on the final stop, he'll have such a shorter stop that'll get himself out to the front and be able to snag a win. Something that, you know, these guys, Bullhasser, Cameron Barry, and George Nujix, George and Bullhasser, as well as Jinx specifically, they should all be experienced enough. They should know that that might just be happening, and it might be what we're seeing out of Christian Steele as well. Steele very, very experienced in that Banshee Autosport X car. He might just be playing the patient game as well, as right now Trost is putting down lap traffic of Andre Antonighi, who we saw have early troubles.
Yeah, so Antonini gets him through. Oh, big tap there, and I think that's Antonini almost into the wall, so not sure what happened there, and he's trying to get the other leaders through now. Big scramble in the pack. Oh, tap, and that's going to be a caution flag out for sure right there. Possibly that was Nujix. Nujix is
still in the wall. We're still green.
Still green right now, racing, so that was very, very hair-raising. Not sure what happened between Schmidt and Antonini. Finally, we get the caution out here on lap 62. Scruffy there, as Schmidt just couldn't turn into the corner, Randy, and he just seemed to back off the throttle, caught out Antonini unaware, who was on a different line, different race. And that just caused a bit of a concertina effect, just a chain reaction behind, as the rest of the leaders just had to go straight to the apron, straight to the inside line, excuse me. So they had to avoid that incident.
I think it wasn't an incident of Thomas Schmidt, I think, getting tight. He turned into turn number 1, if anything, a little bit too early, and he clipped that white line down on the very inside. I think that got him a little bit loose and just upset the car and shot him up the racetrack is what caused that initial incident. And he did get a slight tap from that car behind, but not enough surely to cause an incident. Unfortunately for Andre, he lost a lot of momentum, and unfortunately for George Nujux, an incident kind of happened because of it.
Yeah, so we saw in the RaceSpot TV replay there, Schmidt, of course, went very low on that line, and normally, you know, his lines through that corner, the last time around anyway, he did take more of a wider entrance and then turned in low. So having the lap car there as the leaders come into the pit lane, for most of them it's their second stop. For Schmidt though, Randy, it's his first stop, and he's going to be on par with the leaders now. So this worked out very well for Thomas Schmidt in that #1 car who started the race in 21st.
Yeah, very well done by him, working himself up to the front. Didn't do it on pace, but he did it on strategy. And in these sorts of conditions, these races, that's all you need in order to do it. If someone missed his box, I'm not sure who missed it. That might have been, who was it, Johnny? You're the one talking about it.
So Thomas Schmidt missed his box. He went too short. And you can see there he's been jumped by he's been jumped by a school of drivers right now. This is incredible. So Schmidt now comes away in 9th. Grosser will pretty much be in 1st place. So Trost leads away in terms of the drivers who have pitted. Then it's Steele, Jinx behind, Barry, Bullhasser, Tam, Isanimi, Schmidt there in P9. So that really cost him, Randy. As Thomas Schmidt pulled into his box, we heard word that he just went way too short. He had to readjust, and look at the time it's cost him.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be absolutely disastrous. We're going to have to see, though. We have some people taking the audibles. Robert Grosser stayed out. He's currently rolling off, and he might be the leader. I'm not sure where Andre Antonini fits into all of this. Actually, he's laps down. So Robert Grosser, if he doesn't come down now, he's going to be cycled in as a leader, and that's what he's going to be. Andrew Burns as well stays out, although he's laps down as well. So we have a couple cars that are laps down, and here in this series, those lap down cars, they don't get cycled back. They stay in line where they are unless you're between the leader and the pace car. So likes of Brandon Trost, Christian Steele, and everyone else, you know, who just came down pit road, they're going to have Andrew Burns to deal with unless they come down pit road now.
So you can visit racespot.tv/timing as usual for your live timing needs. Lap 65 of 120 in this event. So Robert Grosser leads. Yeah, I'm still wondering where Antonini fits in all of this. Now he
should catch a wave around.
Yeah, he should get a wave around here, which should be good for him because he's 5 laps behind the leaders, or at least 4 laps. So he was involved in that incident earlier as Thomas Schmidt just caught the apron at the inside of turn 1, went a little bit wide, and that just caused a huge domino effect for the rest of the field behind. And for Schmidt right now, I mean, I know the race isn't over, but to work that hard and then stuff it up in a pit stop, this is why you need to practice your pit stops a lot here, even though it looks so simple. As Trost goes down to the apron, does he have a penalty? Is he coming back into the pits? Antonini, though, will pit. That should free up the rest of the leaders. So, Grosser, Trost, there's another lap car in between. So that is the number 25 car of Andrew Burns there, who's currently in between Grosser and Trost.
Yeah, like we were talking about, in this IndyCar series, there are no wave rounds as the lights are out right now. So Andrew Burns will remain second in line. So right now, this is Robert Grosser's chance to maybe get himself a bit of a gap. And talking about Thomas Schmidt and quote-unquote stuffing it up, I wouldn't quite so say he stuffs it up just yet. He started off in 21st position, and he's currently rolling around right in 9th place. And we saw in that last run with his ability to hang with the top 3 that he actually has some decent pace. Now, yes, he was out there in a lighter car, but he might just be able to work through the likes of the cars in front of him, get himself up to the front. Timo Isinemi, Richard Tam, Cameron Barry, Kevin Bulhasa, they haven't had the pace of the leaders, and they might be just right in Thomas Schmidt's weight category.
So, green flag waiting as the pace car lights are out. Grosser leads, did not make a pit stop, and he's ahead of Andrew Burns, but Trost is in P2 behind, so he'll be third in this row. Then it's Steele, Jinx, Bulhasa rounding out the top 5. Pace car pulls in, Grosser floors it, we go green here again. Trost behind, can't make his way past Burns this early as Burns goes to the outside line, so the leaders will come through, but Grosser gets the jump as well. He's got about 1 second the gap, it seems, on the racetrack, as Steele behind, Jinx as well trying to make his way past Andrew Burns here. Burns still stuck on that outside line. Bulhasa as well makes his way through. Fairly simple for the leaders.
Yeah, very well done by everyone getting themselves through. Let's see how Thomas Schmidt is doing. Thomas Schmidt right now is actually under attack by TM Hauser going into turn number 1, so something's wrong with Schmidt, and he's not showing the pace he showed in the early runnings. Maybe that car just really struggles on a full tank of gas, as right now here comes TM Hauser again up on the outside. Let's see, I think TM is going to be able to get by him here coming off of turn number 2. It actually, no, Thomas Schmidt wheels that car through turn 3 and 4 very, very well, able to hold on to that position.
Yeah, so Steele ahead, almost went into the wall at turn 1. He's dropped 2 positions. That battle, though, for the lead there from P2 to P7. It's getting very heated right now as TM Hauser
fanning out 3 wide.
3 wide here for second place. There's Trost at the inside, Jinx in the middle line, Bulhasa around the outside. Now they go back to 2 wide. And that's Trost losing positions for the first time we've seen Trost under attack from a lot of drivers, and he hasn't been able to defend as well as he did earlier on in the event right now.
I think Trost got really nervous about the fact they were looking 3 wide there, and because of that had to really lift out of it, and that allowed Dave Jinx and Bulhasa to carry that momentum and get that job done. Dave Jinx, though, he actually missed his apex going through turn 3 and 4. This is going to give Kevin a huge opportunity to maybe make a move. Let's see what he does. Does Kevin stay patient? I'd wager that he will. That's exactly what he does. Brandon Trost behind stays patient as well. Christian Steele able to get back to the back of Brandon Trost, as right now Robert Grosser in the lead is simply checking out.
Oh man, so Grosser is he's got the whole racetrack to himself at the moment. 2 seconds to lead up on this group as they spend a lot of time battling. Look how close Bulhasa is right now as Trost stays very close behind as well. TM Hauser around the outside of Richard Tam as those guys fight for position as well back down the order. And now we're starting to form up as usual.
Hauser caught the wall coming off of 2, and he might have just gotten lucky.
Yeah.
Might have hit it the way you need to hit it and hit it flush, but he might just have a little bit of damage there. We're going to have to wait some laps to see. Thomas Schmidt continues falling back just a little bit. Well, he's still running in 9th, and he's trying to get around the outside of Andrew Burns right here. Andrew Burns, we know he showed very good pace early on. He just got cycled down the order due to an incident, lost himself a bunch of laps, and after repairs, the car is still fast. Thomas Schmidt really struggling to really hold on and be able to get by. As he gets a run now, he's going to go up the inside, and this should be where Andrew basically gives him that position.
Yeah, so Schmidt right now doesn't gain a position. That's Andrew Burns, who is a few laps behind right there. So Schmidt now needs to catch up to the back of Tam and Hauser in front, and because they're battling, it might make it a little bit easier for him as they go alongside each other into the final corner. Hauser very wide on the exit. Doesn't tap the wall this time around though. Tam has the better run off of turn 4. That should, Schmidt's still about half a second behind right now. He's gaining 10th by 10th, so this shouldn't be able to reel them in right now. He has to make sure he doesn't lose his mental composure because of that mistake in the pit stop. You don't want to be doing anything unnecessary at this stage of the race as Schmidt closes the door on Andrew Burns there in the number 25.
And that's what he needs to do. Thomas Schmidt, he needs to realize that he needs to keep that door shut on that lap car. There's no reason to fight or even try to let that lap car by. He needs to maintain his line, concentrate on reeling in Tam, Hauser, Barry, Steele, and Trost, and the rest of those guys all up in front there. As right now, Dave Jinx still under attack by Kevin Bulhasa. Kevin's being a little bit more aggressive, and now he's looking to the outside, and Dave Jinx leaves a big open door right to the inside, and he actually misses his turn in for turn number 1.
Oh.
Dave Jinx probably concentrating on his mirrors a little bit too much. He gets shuffled down 4 positions immediately.
Yeah, so he's lost 4 positions there. They all avert, go to the inside line, and now Bulhasa takes speed 2 away. Grosser, though, has lost 8 tenths while these guys have all started to work together a little bit, so he doesn't want that to happen. He's still maintaining a nice clean track ahead. He won't be saving as much fuel, though, as these guys behind, and that's important. He's not on the same sort of pit strategy as the rest of the guys behind him right now, as Trost tries to make his way back up to the front of this second pack down the field. Steele, though, who had to save the race before, still in this one, still living. Barry 5th. Jinx, after that, has lost a lot of time. He is now even passed by TM Hauser and Richard Tam. Oh, a tap there as well. Into the wall. Huge crash here.
No. Oh, Dave.
Caution flag out. Lap 79, Randy. That was just unnecessary there on the exit of turn 2.
Yeah, Dave, I don't know what Dave was doing. He went into turn number 1 again, super wide, just letting people by. He knew people were going to be coming by, and he flat out just drove down into Thomas Schmidt there, absolutely ruined his race. I mean, there's no other way to say it.
So the number 1 involved, the number 12 as well, sorry, the number 26, Dave Jinx. I think that was John Hill possibly involved as well, and the number 10. And he got a huge tap from behind. Lots of cars involved here. Andrew Burns in the 25. So a big incident right now in the race. And I saw Jinx losing time, Randy, after he just missed the inside apex. He just kept losing more and more positions. Don't know how he lost so much time, but that momentum is a huge killer at Charlotte.
Well, I was about to mention, I was going to maybe say that maybe Dave realized that they were in a pit stop or in a fuel window, and he could have maybe tried to figure out a way to make it to the end, and the reason that he was losing so much time was he was just going to try to fuel save it all the way to the checkered flag, but I have no idea what he was doing there. I mean, you just have to feel so bad for Thomas Schmidt. He was having a really good run, really, completely bringing himself back to the front after a horrible qualifying, just a very, very silly mistake from someone who's been racing for a long time and should know better.
Yeah, so Burns out of that, as we mentioned. Nujix as well, I believe he was out earlier anyway, so I was just looking at those who aren't in the event at the moment. So still waiting for Bullhasser leads, excuse me, Trost as well. So Grosser ended up entering the pit lane right now. He's out and away. Now watch this, Randy. Don't unbuckle anything right now. But Grosser's in 5th position, and this has worked out really well for him. That pace, come the end of the pace lap, was incredibly well in green flag running there for Grosser. So I'm thinking right now, if he can maintain his way with the leaders, stay out of incidents, Grosser's got a good chance here from P5, fresher rubber.
Yeah, he certainly does, and it's going to be hard to see, how exactly is this going to pan out. We do know that Grosser, he showed very, very good pace, but that was good pace in clean air, and pace in clean air doesn't always equate to pace in dirty air, so it's definitely going to be interesting to see. Kevin Bullhasser, though, this is going to be the first time we've seen him up at the front of the field, and this is going to be the first time we've seen him get clean air. Let's see how he's able to do here.
So, Jinx was talking about how he had no clear from no call from the spotter anyway. Most of the time, that's what a lot of people say. That's all I'm going to say. But in the end, the race is over for a lot of these guys, and that's not good right now. Lake as well is in the pit lane. He's out of the race. Is Anemi involved? Schmidt in the pits too. So those guys pretty much out of contention. Those guys on the lead lap. Just having a look here, it seems that there's 10 cars on the lead lap. Lap 82 of 120. We're running out of cars here, Randy, to win this race. I might have to jump in and leave the commentary booth. I mean, I'd love to, but I'd need to make up 82 laps, so that's not going to work anytime soon.
Listen, Johnny, Dave is already down there wrecking cars. We don't need you wrecking more of them.
Oh, all right. I'll take that as I've got no comeback to that. Don't worry, I'm just going to live with it. So, Bullhasser will wait for the pace car lights to hopefully come out this time around as the pace car crosses the start-finish line to begin lap 83 of the event, and we will go green next time around, Randy. The thing is, though, this Charlotte Motor Speedway, it's one of those circuits where when you're new to iRacing, this is one of the first racetracks you race at. So these drivers have plenty of experience here and pretty much know how this track works, even though most of them aren't really a fan of it.
I mean, Charlotte is one of those tracks where, I mean, even though it looks like a cookie cutter in these Indy cars, it is just almost a little bit too snug, and because of that, you can't really make that outside line work. We've seen it all race long. You really need a huge run. You basically need the car in front of you to make a big mistake in order for you to try to get that outside line working. Either that or you make a bonsai move up on the inside like we saw Trost kind of try on Norton, and we saw how that worked out. So, I mean, it is a very hectic track, a very hectic environment, and unfortunately we've spent a long time under yellow flag conditions. A lot of cars ended up in that wall.
So top 10 you can see on your screen. Bullhasser will lead away the end of this pace car run. Then it's Trost, Steele, Berry, Grosser, Hauser, Tam, Hanger, Ibrich, Adam Plunkett rounds out the top 10 as the pace car pulls in. Green flag as Bullhasser floors it. Trost behind, doesn't get the best jump. Steele though, very close to Trost for P2 right now. Looking for the outside line, doesn't work. Goes back to the inside here on the run to the backstretch.
Christian Steele's been very patient this entire race, and as we near the closing stages, he's going to need to be very, very aggressive here to be able to get by. Let's look back. How's Robert Grosser doing on these new tires? Well, he's still rolling around in P number 5, and he actually lost quite a bit of space to Cameron Berry ahead. So Grosser really needs to get on that gas pedal right now, start working himself by. Brandon Trost, though, on the back of Kevin Bullhasser. They worked themselves off of turn number 2. Down this back straightaway, Trost kind of eyeing that outside, but not making a move just yet. Trost has been really, really patient in these conditions, really, really patient in most of these situations. And right now, as he rolled down into turn number 1, Johnny, he still just stays line of stern.
Yeah, so Berry behind loses 2 positions to Grosser and Hauser into P4 and 5. The top 3, though, they're all really forming up right now as there's that Trost looking for the outside, goes back to the inside line as Bullhasser, Trost, Steele, who have been leading this race most of the time, just make their way through the order right now, Randy, as we head towards an interesting part of the race. Is Grosser, Hauser as well, so they're starting to form up here as we expected. Come the end of the race, less cars, less battling to do. They'll probably wait until the remaining laps to get a move done.
Yeah, from here on out, it's basically just a game of when do you stop being patient and when do you go. We know some of these guys didn't pit, running in the top 3. Bullhasser, Trost, Steele. We know Grosser's back there on new rubber. Is that the audible that gives Grosser the win here? He should be good to go to the end. We saw Thomas Schmidt make it 60 laps as we got close racing behind. Right now, TM Hauser trying to get by Cameron Berry, and looking behind as well, David Hanger getting around the likes of Richard Tam. Adam Plunkett under attack from Ermes Ebrecht. And actually, Plunkett is able to actually made a pass this lap, so very well done by him moving himself up into 9th. A lot of things happening in the closing stages of this race, Johnny.
Yeah, so Hauser almost tapped Berry there, and now they live again right now. Hauser doesn't know. Inside, outside line, has to make his decision. The safe one is the inside. He gets a bit of a draft here from Grosser in front. So Grosser doesn't know who to help though. Does he go to the outside? Does he go to the inside? Now he helps Berry on the outside line to get that little jump there just ahead of Hauser. And I think Berry's got 5th position right now. So good little help there from Grosser, who gave him a little bit of a draft into turn 1 as Grosser went wide. But there we go once again. Hauser has the pace. He just cannot make a move past Berry right now, and it's costing him a little bit of time.
Yeah, actually right now Grosser he didn't get a great run off of turn number 4. Actually came under attack from Cameron Berry behind going into turn number 1 and 2, and actually still up on the outside is Cameron Berry in that Crib TV IndyCar.
Oh,
now they go to turn number 3 and 4. Battle for the lead. Trost got himself out front. How did that happen? Did Kevin hiccup coming off of turn number 2? I think he did. Coming off turn number 2, what happened? Did that car get loose? What happened? Not sure. He just left that door wide open. That was a mistake. That was just basically letting Trost by. Trost goes by. Bullhasser actually falls back to 3rd. Christian Steele now can no longer be patient. He has to race Trost hard for these last 28 laps.
Yeah, so Bullhasser right now, he cannot gamble on that mistake come the end of the race. He needs to maintain P1. So Trost is back where he was from the start of the event. He's led 46 laps, the most of anybody out here in the field. As Steele there in 2nd, who's played 2nd fiddle, has not led a lap all race as well. You'd think that's surprising. And here's Berry right now alongside Grosser. Final corner. Hauser once again can't make his way through. Look at the run though from TM Hauser out of the final corner, but then he's blocked off by Grosser and he cannot make that move. Backs out of the throttle.
I mean, unfortunately for TM right now, the way that they're racing behind, Grosser can't just, you know, basically run a standard line, a quote-unquote faster line, and because of that, he's not catching the cars in front. I think if Robert Grosser had been, you know, already up the field a little bit, closer to the cars in front, like Kevin Bullhassa, I think that TM Hauser may have already gotten this job done on Cameron Barry, but unfortunately for Hauser, every time he gets a run, Robert Grosser is there, and he just has to check up because of Robert, and he can't get the move made, as right now, Cameron Barry again has a run on the outside of Grosser, but Grosser again, that inside line is just too strong.
So Tam and Henger behind who swap positions again, as Henger has a great run here up the inside. They're just working together, saving a bit of fuel there, swapping, doing the little road cycling effect right now. The little relay run. Can they catch back up to this 3? Look at Hauser though. You just don't know if he's going to make it 3 wide, and if he does, it's not going to work there into turn 4. It's just way too tight.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly not. You can't really make 3 wide work here on a track like this. And unfortunately, again, Grosser didn't have the momentum. Otherwise, he would have been able to swing up into the inside. Right now for TM Hauser, he needs desperately Robert Grosser to get a big run coming off of these corners. I think Grosser might have a little bit more wing on the cars than these guys. And because of that, he's losing a bunch of speed on the straightaways, but he stretches it back through the middle of the corner. As right now, here comes TM Hauser again. A big run, goes to the inside, has to lift out of it, can't get the job done.
You'd think at this stage anyway, Hauser might try to save fuel if he can make it to the end. But I'm pretty sure most of these guys will either make a stop or they should be safe for the likes of Grosser. Look at Barry though, very close to the wall, outside line, doesn't have the momentum. Is this TM Hauser's chance now as Grosser breaks away? Barry doesn't have the draft here into the first corner. Oh, so close between the two there as Hauser almost tapped Barry, but he makes his way through though. Barry fights back to the inside line.
Very, very strong racing here, and TM Hauser needs to get himself to the inside right now. That's exactly what he does. Has the position on Cameron Barry. Very, very well done by TM Hauser. Robert Grosser now under attack from TM Hauser. They might be Vortex teammates, but don't think that they're not going to play rough with each other and maybe not try to make some silly moves to try to get by one another. They each want to finish strong in this race. They want to get up to those top 3. So maybe they should be patient, as right now Kevin Bullhassa, Christian Steele, Brandon Trost, all fighting very, very hard right now. Not quite as hard as the guys in 4th, 5th, and 6th, but don't think for a second that these guys are just laying it easy right now.
So there we go. I was going to say, Hauser was a bit too risky on that outside line. He hasn't been able to make it work as well as Barry has. Now he goes back to the low side. Gets the draft off Grosser. Oh, tries to force Barry offline as well. Doesn't turn in. Very late from him. Barry right now goes for the switchback. Not enough room here on the main stretch. Hauser though outside line. Allows the door open for Barry. Closes it once again. So this is an interesting dilemma for Grosser and Hauser when it's very unlikely a caution will come out, Randy, because of the fact that we don't have many cars out here in the field, and most of them are in small little battles and not in really big packs. So it would be very interesting if a caution comes out in the next 17 laps.
Yeah, I mean, there's only 10 cars running right now. There's 10 cars on the lead lap. 11th place is Andrea Antonighi, who's 5 laps down. So, 11 cars out here running right now. So, like you said, any incident, if we get a yellow flag, it's either going to involve the leaders, it's going to involve Grosser, Hauser, and Barry, or it's going to involve Tam and Henger, or the 2 cars that are really slow, Adam Plunkett and Irma Seabrick. So, I mean, it is really... at this point, all these guys that are running right now need to be calm, need to be cool. Yeah, they're running out of laps. There's only going to be 16 laps to go here when they cross the stripe this time by. But we're still kind of seeing question marks over fuel strategy. Brandon Trost, Christian Steele, Kevin Bullhassa, can they make it? We know that you can do 60 laps because Thomas Schmidt did it, but Thomas Schmidt made that 60 laps on a lot more cautions than they're going to have for the final 60. What happened?
Barry into the wall. So you got a bit of a tap there from Hauser, but we're still green flag here as Barry. I think that car's way too damaged to continue. He had a huge tap from TM Hauser, who just went very wide into the first corner. We look at the RaceSpot TV replay there. We can see Hauser just didn't turn in as Barry expected, and he really just forced Barry. Barry just was expecting Hauser to go to that low side Didn't really work out for him right now, but we're still going to stick with green flag racing here as we go back live.
Definitely unfortunate for Cameron Barry, who's having a very, very strong run. He's going to basically finish outside of the top 5, I wager, because of that. He's going to have a lot of damage on that car, but we still need to watch these top 3. Can they make it to the end? Robert Grosser and everyone back, we know they all pit. We know that they're showing some pretty good pace. TM Howser really running alongside with Robert Grosser and actually making a move right now going into turn number 3. He gets that job done. They are teammates, so they are playing a little bit more nicely with each other. Maybe they know a way to leapfrog and save themselves a bunch of time and try to reel in that gap, but it's going to be interesting to see. Can Kevin, can Steele, can Trost, can they make it to the end?
Yeah, so Hauser and Grosser right now should be able to make it to the end comfortably, but it's up to those top 3, and if they don't, it'll allow the race win for Hauser and Grosser. Unless we get a caution that could help them save fuel right now, as Trost, Steele, Bullhasser, you'd think right now, Randy, instead of battling, they'd want to save fuel and work together and then spend the last maybe 5 laps or so battling. Maybe even that's a little bit too late if we have 11 laps to go.
Christian Steele's been doing that. We've seen it all race long, like you said. Yeah. Brandon Trost has led, I think, probably 50, 60 laps at this stage. Christian Steele has led 0, and he's basically been on the gearbox of Brandon Trost all race long. He's more or less had the opportunity to save gas the entire way. It's going to be very, very tight here, I think, for Brandon Trost. Maybe even Kevin Bullhassa as well, who led for a good chunk. I think Christian Steele, if these guys can't make it to the end, Christian might just be the one who can maybe make it that extra lap or so. As this time by, we're going to have 15 miles left to go in this event.
So, 10 laps to go here as Trost crosses the line. They come across Antonini there, the lap car on that number 24 you can see on your screen. Trost right now approaching Antonini. Last time around they lapped him. There was a caution flag. He got involved in an incident with Thomas Schmidt. And right now, it's cost Bullhasser a little bit of time. You can see he's lagging back a little bit here. He's lost a couple of tenths, a few tenths now, and I think Bullhasser might even be out of the battle for the top 2, and this may not help him if he needs to save fuel.
Bullhasser there going through turn number 3 and 4. That car is on the outside. I think he was a little nervous, and on top of that, he got a little bit loose, and because of that, cost himself a lot of momentum, and we now see that 10 or so car gap from second back to third. Christian Steele, though, still looking strong. He needs to be very, very aggressive here. It's the final 10 laps to go. If you can make it, you need to go now to be able to get by Brandon Trost. We know Brandon Trost has a lot of pace. He's going to be very difficult to get by, as it's actually going to be 7 laps to go next time by.
Yeah, so Grosser passes Hauser right now. Steele right behind Trost. Steele hasn't led a lap. Is this going to be his day? Is he going to lead his only lap of the race, possibly on the final lap? Quality over quantity, as we have 9 cars on the lead lap right now racing. Saw Cameron Barry in that incident with Hauser before. No caution flag though. That was about 5-10 laps ago. Steele though, not close enough. Bullhasser's dropped away from the top 2 fight. He'll be kicking himself as he was too nervous trying to lap Antonini there. But will he fall into the clutches of Grosser and Hauser in 4 and 5 right now? 2.7 the gap between those guys. And now it could close up very, very quickly, Randy, as Bullhasser needs to just minimize his time lost.
Yeah, he really does right now, and unfortunately for him, I don't think it's going to matter. I'm starting to think Trost and Steele can both make it to the end here as they now bring it into 5 laps to go, 7.5 miles left in this event. There's a slow car. That's Cameron Barry just on the apron letting everyone go. He might be leaving pit lane for after those repairs, as right now Christian Steele eyeing that outside line on Brandon Trost. He's not really using the draft or trying to get a run like he was earlier. He seems to be prioritizing the clean air on the entries. He actually gets himself a decent run now, but it's not going to be enough to pull up alongside Trost as they have 4 laps to go.
So Steele now outside line, back onto the inside, gets the draft, tries to avert Trost as Trost goes to the inside line, tries to break that toe, and now Steele back to the outside, trying to find that grip. It hasn't worked most of the race. We've seen it a couple of times right now. Steele again, great run out of the final corner. Tries to go alongside Trost, doesn't have the speed at this stage of the race. 3 laps remaining as they cross the line.
Steele is there, and Steele needs to be basically really, really aggressive here. We keep seeing it. Trost will cut off that inside, and then he'll cut up to the outside. What Steele needs to do is needs to try to bait that move a little bit sooner and then cut down really, really late. And this time, I think he's going to have a run. He might just have a shot at it here. No, not enough yet. 3 miles left to go here, Johnny.
So Steele needs to do exactly that. Goes for the huge cutback right now. It's not enough though. Does he have the grip? Does Trost have the fuel to win this race? Steele right now back onto the outside. He's going to go for that switchback as we'll have white flag this time around as they cross the line. Steele though very close to the apron right there as it's 1 lap to go here. White flag.
The last lap and Christian Steele up on the outside. Let's see what he can do. He has himself kind of dedicated to the outside. Killed his momentum here through 1 and 2. He needs to dedicate to the inside here going into 3 and 4, but he doesn't. Halfway down the back straightaway into 3 and 4. Goes to the outside. They're side by side through the entry in 3 and 4. But Christian Steele, we see him lose all the momentum as he fires back now. Gonna have a run. They're gonna be side by side at the line, but no. It's gonna be Brandon Trost coming away with the victory by less than half a tenth of a second over Christian Steele.
Oh, what a finish there. Bullhasser maintains third as well. Grosser takes fourth ahead of Hauser. And Tam, Henger, Plunkett, and Ibrich there very close to the line as well. Christian Steele so close. It was 49 hundredths of a second at the line. He almost made it work, Randy, but it wasn't enough in the end. And Brandon Trost, who led 74 of the 120 laps here today, takes a well-deserved win. Now, he was very lucky as well. He wasn't involved in that early incident between Mike Perry and Norton, or at least wasn't out of the race there, Randy.
I mean, it was basically, you know, very, very close finish. Fireworks there at the end, as right now fireworks are going off above Charlotte Motor Speedway for Brandon Trost for bringing home the win, and the first of this, the first oval win, excuse me, the Verizon IndyCar Series. We've had 2 road course stops thus far, and this is a pretty eventful oval opening, I think, Johnny.
Yeah, so first oval race of the season, incredible stuff. We'll look at the results here today as Brandon Trost takes the win here for round 3 at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Christian Steele 5 hundredths of a second behind, or 49 hundredths to be exact. Then Bullhasser, who lost the battle to the lead in the end, came home in third anyway, maintained that final podium position. Grosser and Hauser there, 2 guys battling for most of the end of the race, come home in 4th and 5th. Richard Tam, David Henger had a quiet event, started in 19th and 18th respectively, come home in 6th and 7th. We see Plunkett, Ibrich rounding out the drivers on the lead lap. Antonini trundling his way back into P10 after some early incidents. Cameron Berry, late incident, wasn't able to get a top 6 result out of that. We saw Dave Jinks, unfortunately, who was up near the lead battle most of the race as well, involved in that incident midway through. Thomas Schmidt as well, incredible stuff to see him just find his way back up through the field, and heartbroken at the same time as well. Andrew Burns down there in P18. You can see Liam Quinn, Thomas Sturm as well, who had pole position in round 1, has not been able to take a race win this season yet. And down the order, Mike Perry, Ryan Norton involved in that early incident with Brandon Trost. Trost the only survivor, Randy, but he ended up taking the win as well, and not good for Mike Perry and Ryan Norton.
That certainly wasn't, and they're going to be really, really upset about that. I'm sure Norton, won't be too happy. Mike Perry as well, kind of an innocent bystander, though.
So we'll speak to Brandon Trost, who wins the race here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Brandon, what a win as well. I mean, it just seems so easy for you. Early incident, though. Let's talk about that, first of all, between Mike Perry, Ryan Norton as well. You just seem to survive on that inside line. Very aggressive today. It seemed to work out for you.
Yeah, it was a little aggressive, but you had to be, especially when guys don't race clean. You know, you get a guy like Norton, he's never going to let you back cleanly, so you just got to be tough, and you got to take the opportunities when they're presented, and if they wreck you or attempt to wreck you, you can't back down more than once, which I did back down once, but second time it's like, I'm there, bud, sorry.
Talk about the main stretch, though. All 4 wheels on the grass. Don't know how you managed to keep that in a straight line, but it seemed to work out for you anyway. Did lead, in the end, 74 laps of this event.
Yeah, you know, the grass was fun. You know, again, that was another one of those things with Norton. Doesn't want to give room. Went in the grass to avoid him the first time. Second time, well, there was a wreck. But, you know, did the best I could. And, yeah, the rest of the race went great, so that was nice.
Yeah, and the win as well. I mean, the car just seemed to be on rails here today, by the way. I mean, it's just the pace you had and everything like that from the start of the event. You think you can sort of translate this to the roadside possibly come the rest of the season? You know, you had some, it seemed to be almost unstoppable in my opinion when we saw you.
Not on the roadside, no. There's no way. I just don't have speed on that side.
Oh well, but there you go. Brandon Trost, our race winner here today, who takes a well-deserved win, Randy, and I think you're going to be speaking to Christian Steele next, who makes his way into the interview booth.
That was a very good run from Brandon. It was actually a very good run from Christian Steele, but unfortunately for Christian, you unfortunately kind of just played second fiddle all race long, but you were very, very strong, undoubtedly. How did that race go for you and Brandon? You both kind of just ran together the entire way.
I was working with Brandon during that race, and we decided just to work together and keep it clean with each other. And we knew heading into the race it'd be really hard to pass on the outside, and Brandon obviously was in front of me. So we just kept it like that, and I was hoping that I would have more fuel than him, but he was able to make it as well. So it worked out pretty well for me. As it looks like I'll be pretty close to the top of the boards in the championship after this race.
And speaking of the boards of the championship, obviously this is a mixed bag kind of series. We asked Trost about it. How are you doing on the road side of things?
I'd say I'm doing pretty well. I've definitely improved from the past seasons, so I'm just looking to just keep on improving and be able to get top fives, stay in that range hopefully, and I'll have a shot at the end of the season.
I mean, you showed very, very good pace today, and like you said, you've improved a lot on the road side, and that's definitely good to see. And Banshee Aero X drivers, they seem to have a way of doing that. I recall a certain Matt Cook actually had a 16th Street season where he improved immensely on the road side, so maybe something on the Banshee side there. But any shout-outs, anyone you'd like to thank there, Christian?
I'd like to thank everybody from Banshee Autosport and Aero X Racing, obviously, for all the support and the work on the setups. Definitely a great group to be a part of.
That's Christian Steele, Johnny, and I believe we're going to bring in Robert Grosser here, the last of our interviewees.
Yeah, so Robert Grosser, who came home in the 4th position. Rob, staying out in that second stint, it seemed to, maybe there was a late caution that could have helped you out, but in the end, you came home in 4th, a well-deserved result.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was really an interesting race with so many different strategies, and I just thought I'd try something different than the other cars around me, and I think in the end I was quite lucky.
Road courses, by the way, I don't want to skip to the next round too early, but next week you got a very interesting event out here. You're racing at a Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, Montreal. Nice little North American track, but it's a road course. Can you bring home the win there, the trophy for your team? Do you know if you can do it? It'll be an interesting one for you.
I think I can't win one of the SOF races, that's for sure, because the competition is just so hard. But I'm really looking forward to Montreal. I really love this track. I won my first DW12 race at Montreal.
Hey!
So, yeah, good memories, and I hope I can score some decent points at least.
Final thing about the race, actually, we spoke a lot about the high line and the low line and what was working during the event. It seemed that the high line just didn't work as well. Christian tried to go high then low and go for the cutback. Do you think that you would have been able to make it work on fresh rubber if you were up there in the lead? If you had to make a pass on Trost for the lead and you were on fresh rubber, do you think you could have made it work if you weren't 4 seconds behind?
I don't think so. Honestly, passing on the outside was next to impossible. As long as the other car was able to hug the white line on the inside. So I think even on fresh tires it wouldn't have worked.
Well, there you go, Robert Grosser, who came home in the 4th position. Great result for him here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. And Randy, you're going to be speaking to TM Hauser, who came home in 5th, right behind Robert, and it was a great event for him as well.
TM coming home P number 5 after starting 7th, so a good race for you. How was it? You had a good battle there at the end with Robert Grosser, really battling hard. Although you seemed to be, for a while, you were actually fighting with, I believe it was Cameron Barry. Seemed like you had quite a bit of pace on him, but for a while just kind of hung up behind him, couldn't get the pass done.
Yeah, that's true. Hi, again. Great race to everyone. And yeah, I'm actually pretty happy that I made the race today. As you can see, I'm not the real road racer, so the split has been, yeah, I think 1,800 and above. Anyway, and yeah, the race went pretty good. At one point I decided to flip my race strategy. Well, the team, we decided to split our race strategies, so at the end everyone drove a different one. I guess, yeah, at the end, everyone had the same fuel at the end. I'm not even sure. Did Christian and Brandon pit before, or did they not pit? I even didn't see that.
Oh well, yeah. Brandon, that last stop, they'd actually stayed out. The only person I think who pit was actually Robert.
Yeah.
No, I actually,
Robert.
I think I pitted as
And
well,
you,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, you and Robert both pitted.
I think about, there was the yellow just about, what was it, about 55 laps to go, as far as I remember. And at that point, I decided to just fill up the car with 40 liters. So I splitted the strategy and reduced wings so I could get a faster pace. But sadly, I was a little bit stuck in the field behind some people. So yeah, but it was fun racing, especially with Robert. We had team communications up, and sadly I had this contact with who was it? I think number 22, Cameron Barry. Yeah, good driving from him, but I don't know. I think in turn one I turned in a little bit late. Maybe there was a net code. Yeah, we settled it in the box.
Still a very good run from UTM. Very strong finish up into P number 5. You said you weren't much of a road racer. Are we going to see you next week in Montreal?
Oh no, wait! I'm much of a oval racer. I'm not that much of a road racer. So yeah,
right, that's what.
Sorry. Yeah, I try my best in road, but I'm unable to achieve any times like our top guys in the team, like Thomas and Robert. I'm just missing seconds there. I'm probably too old.
Oh.
It'll happen to us all, TM, but still a very good run for you. Any shout-outs?
Yeah, thanks for all the team, especially Marco Brazil. He prepared the qualification setup for us today. I think without him, the team wouldn't start in the top 10, I guess. And yeah, your sponsors, Logical, and yeah, the whole Vortex team.
You guys had a very strong outing today. I think you had several cars and 2 of them in the top 5. So congratulations to you and your teammate Robert and the rest of the team, TM, and hopefully see you guys next week in Montreal.
Yeah, sure. See you around. Thanks for the talk.
Well, that's it for us, Johnny. We get to stop talking to people now. We get to talk to each other. I think it was a pretty fun race.
Yeah, it was. I thoroughly enjoyed that race. 120 laps, Charlotte. People really hyped it down and said it wasn't going to be anything. It was pretty much action-packed most of the way through, guys. And in the end, we didn't have many drivers, but I thought quality over quantity, right? Any last comments from you as we head towards the beautiful Circuit Villeneuve, my favorite racetrack, in 1 week's time?
Certainly going to be an exciting kind of race at Montreal, and really the next several tracks are going to be a lot of fun. Montreal, obviously, of course, one of the greatest road courses in North America, and very, very tight. Almost drives like a street circuit, even though it's technically not, just with how close the walls are basically all the time. Then after that, we're going to Iowa. That'll be a fun kind of short track style event for these guys. So, but it's going to be a fun couple weeks, but I'm happy to go back to getting talking about braking zones and all that other good stuff.
Yeah, the good stuff. No, I'm kidding. I'm just trying to throw that shot
wrecked.
No, we were just talking about it before the broadcast. I love oval racing. Anyway, we finished this round of ovals. Our next round will be on the 8th of July in 1 week's time for 36 laps around the Circuit Villeneuve in Montreal, Canada. That will be on RaceSpot TV, streaming live on iRacingLive at 8 p.m. GMT. That's 4 p.m. Eastern Time in the US as well. Thanks to all the viewers. Thanks to Randy Cheneth alongside me, Hugo Luis on cameras. Thanks to iRacing, Anwen Design, Istvan Below, and VRS Commander SimSport as usual. Our partners, RaceSpot, as usual. Broadcasting on iRacingLive, we say so long Charlotte Motor Speedway.